Everybody, I hate doing long intros, so I'm just gonna get right into it. Today we're gonna be making pineapple upside down pancakes, and that's about it. So let's get into it. Okay, before we start with our pancakes, we're gonna be doing a little bit of prep for our syrup. The syrup is actually extremely easy to make and it's only 2 ingredients, so first things first, crack open your can of pineapple slices and pour out the juice. Also, make sure when you're buying your pineapple it says canned in 100% juice instead of canned in syrup. I know that we're making pineapple syrup again, so theoretically you could use the stuff that comes in the can, but it just really isn't very good. And that's why we are making our own. But anyway, once you have all the juice from your can into a cup, do a quick little measure on how much you have. You should have about a cup or a little bit more. I had about 1.25 cups, but you're going to want to remember how much juice you had because next we're going to be measuring out a little bit less than how much you had of unpacked brown sugar. I know that measuring out unpacked brown sugar isn't always accurate, but it will be just fine for this purpose, so don't worry. And for my 1.25 cups of juice, I measured out a rough 1 cup of unpacked brown sugar. When you got your sugar measured out, go ahead and dump it into the pot with your pineapple juice and give it a little bit of a mix. You don't have to be too thorough, but you're going to want to do this before you put it onto the back burner on medium-low heat until it comes up to a simmer, and then low heat, keeping at a low simmer after that. And that's it for our syrup. That is everything you need to do, and once it reduces by about half, you can pull it off and pour it into your cup of choice for serving later. This will take roughly about as long as it takes to make the pancakes, so don't worry about setting a timer or nothing. It should be done around the same time you are getting done with your pancakes. Now on to making our pancake batter, which starts with a cup and 2/3 of all-purpose flour, and you're going to want to go ahead and sift that and then add half a cup of granulated sugar, 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder, and half a teaspoon of salt. Give those a little mix, and then we're going to mix together our wet ingredients, which is 1 cup of milk and 1 large egg. Then once you got your milky egg or eggy milk, depending on how you look at it, put that in with the dry ingredients along with 1/3 cup of softened butter, and emphasis on the softened part. If yours isn't soft all the way through like mine wasn't, you're going to get clumps of cold butter in with your batter, and they're kind of a pain to work out. So make sure your butter is nice and soft before you get it in with the rest of the ingredients. Anyway, when you got all your ingredients in your bowl, give it a thorough but brisk mixing. The only thing we're trying to do is get all of the flour hydrated and get all the big chunks of butter into small chunks. It is okay if your batter is a little chunky at the end. That's kind of what we're looking for in a pancake batter anyway. Just make sure there's no super big clumps and we can get on to cooking. For cooking, you're going to want to preheat a pan over medium heat. Then we're going to go through the necessary process of sacrificing our first pancake as the tester. This will hopefully be the ugliest pancake you make in your batch, and it's also going to tell you how to adjust your heat. After the tester, I found out 3 things. 1, I needed to raise the heat just slightly above medium. 2, you should cut your cherries in half, otherwise the middle will start poking out. And 3, these pancakes were darn tasty. Even without the syrup and it being cooked a little funny, the tester was really tasty. Then once you make your adjustments, you can go ahead and get back to cooking, going about 2 to 3 minutes on the first side and about 1 to 2 minutes on the second side before removing from the pan. And once you get done cooking all your pancakes, your syrup should be just about done, so go ahead and pull it off the heat. And for this next part, I want to be very clear. Do not taste test your syrup unless you're absolutely sure it is completely cool. It's kind of hard to tell just at a glance how hot the syrup is going to be, and I promise the last thing you want to do is burn yourself on molten sugar. Sugar burns are some of the nastiest burns you can get, so even if you have to stand there blowing on your syrup for 20 or 30 seconds, make sure it is cool before you test it. Also, the consistency for your syrup will be very different when it is hot versus when it is cooled down, so you can't really tell how thick the syrup is until it's cool anyway. But when your syrup is done and your pancakes are done, go ahead and load up a plate with 2 or 3 of them along with your syrup. And I highly recommend adding some whipped cream or maybe even some vanilla ice cream to this. That creamy, rich taste helps to cut through the tangy pineapple really well. And that's it. Overall, these were really tasty, but the pancake itself kind of turned more into a shortcake than a pancake. It was a little bit denser and cakier than I wanted it to turn out. I was trying to get that light, fluffy texture while still making it taste more like cake than like pancakes, which is kind of tough to do. So in the future, if I ever figure out how to mix those two really well together, I'll definitely pin a comment with it. But for now, this is the best I could come up with, so I hope you like it too. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment on the video, or subscribe to the channel. It helps me out, plus it's free to use, so it's wins all around. Recipe will probably be on the screen right about now, and the cost breakdown should come right after it. So anyway, peace, and I hope to see you in the next one.